Welcome to the Canadian Real Estate Channel. I'm Alfonso Cuadra, the Godfather of Real Estate. I'm excited because we're doing a lot of these videos, lessons from the Godfather. What I do want you to do is stay tuned and make sure you come back and watch each and every one of these installments. Now, we've been getting a lot of questions about the net operating income, and I want to get into what is the net operating income.
Purpose powerful enough will make you unstoppable.
What is the net operating income? Because behind me you'll see that we have a multifamily, multiple units under one roof. And that is what gets me going. I'm a multifamily investor. I've been investing in multifamily for over 20 years. I've been an apartment building whisperer, right? And what I love to do is I love to teach and educate people on how to run the numbers. And that's what really excites me about multifamily. And the biggest difference between multifamily and a single family. The single family, the way you evaluate a single family house is based on comparables. That's how you evaluate it. Whatever, if you have a single family home, whatever your neighbor 3 doors down with a similar subject property, similar property to your subject property, whatever 3 bedrooms, 2-floor, 2-car garage, sold for example, $500,000. If we can find those comparables in the neighborhood, then we can determine that your property, if it's similar to those those properties, is around $500,000. But when it comes to multifamily, it's all about the performance of the property, and we go back to the numbers. And the net operating income tells us what is the performance before debt, before we have to service the debt. And the reason we do that is because debt is optional, right? Some people don't have debt. Some people may have higher interests than others. But we want to evaluate the value of the property. Shortly after World War I, actually World War II, they had a lot of mixed use properties, and so they came up with this formula, capitalization rate, cap rate. And the part of the formula is that net operating income. And so let's talk about it. What is a net operating income? So we start at the very top with your gross scheduled income. This is the income that is scheduled to come in, right? These are your rents. So if you have 5 tenants, you have 5 scheduled rents that are due to come in on the 1st. But just because they're scheduled, it doesn't mean that those rents are guaranteed. You may have some vacancies. You may have some people that are late on the rent, some people didn't pay their rent. And so what we want to do right out of the gate is create a budget. And so what we have is a vacancy budget, okay? It's a reserve, right? And so in the vacancy rates, they vary from market to market. So what you want to do is you want to Google, vacancy rates in your city, for example. And so that will give you an idea of what the vacancy rates are. What I do is I like to be very conservative and bump it up a few points. And so let's say, between 1 to 5 or 10%, you're going to put aside for a vacancy allowance. Once you have the gross scheduled income and you've subtracted the vacancy, you're going to have your gross operating income, okay? Your gross operating income. And this may include laundry, this may include parking, this may include maybe you're charging for some storage lockers, all of the operating income that you have in order to manage and operate that property. So once you have a gross operating income, we're going to subtract the gross operating expenses. The gross operating expenses. These are your utilities, taxes, insurance, repairs and maintenance, property management. Now, when you're looking at a pro forma from a realtor, sometimes they leave out the repairs and maintenance or property management. And so you have to add that. That's part of you underwriting your own property. And so, you know what? Many people, many people use different formulas for repairs and maintenance. For example, some people use 1% of the purchase price. Some people use 5% of the income. I personally like to use a per door. So $750 a door per year. So I can go 750 times 10 units, for example. That's what I'm going to put aside for repairs and maintenance. Now, when it comes to capital expenditures, these are your high-ticket items. I do not include those capital expenditures in my repairs and maintenance. This is completely different. This is another reserve that I'm going to put on the side. I may have a capital expenditure plan. So we'll talk about that at a later date. So repairs and maintenance, capital expenditures, property management. These are all going to go into your gross operating expenses. Insurance, taxes, property management. You want to make sure that you are underwriting your property correctly, because at the end, you don't want any surprises. So once you have your gross operating income and your gross operating expenses, and you've subtracted your gross operating expenses from the gross operating income, we get our net operating income, NOI, net operating income. So that is the performance of your property. And so from that net operating income, we're going to divide it by whatever cap rate, your market commands. For example, let's say that I got my calculator, handy dandy calculator here. Let's say you're in a 5 cap, right? And you have an annual. So to calculate the value of the property, we want to annualize the return. Okay, so you're going to annualize the net operating income. So we have your net operating income, and let's say it's about $80,000 a year in a market that's a 5 cap. Okay, so $80,000 a year, and we want to divide it by 5%. That means this property here is worth $1.6 million. Okay, and this is how we use the net operating income. My friends, make sure to come back here as much as possible, the Canadian Real Estate Channel. I'm the Godfather, and this was a lesson from the Godfather. We'll see you next time.